The old days passed with the death of Bob Fackenberg, Bob Falkenburg, the tennis and golf hero, who brought Hamburg to Brazil. If you believe sport used to be more interesting, you will be sorry to hear that Bob Falkenburg has died. Not only did the 1948 Wimbledon champion save 3 match points in an epic final, but he was also a top amateur golfer who introduced the burger to Brazil. Added sauce came from his sister, who pioneered the talk show, appeared on the cover of 2000 magazines, and once played a cowgirl on Broadway thanks to a hospital meeting with Al Jolson after falling through a balcony at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. Until Novak Djokovic did so against Roger Federer in 2019, Falkenberg was the only man to have saved match points in a Wimbledon final and emerge as the champion. However, the native New Yorker did not consider the Wimbledon defeat of John Bromwich, the Australian, his career high, nor the previous year's doubles title when he partnered Jack Kramer. Instead, Falkenberg turned down a reported $100,000 to go pro, and instead set about taking fast food to Brazil, where Bob's is now a hugely successful franchise. His daughter, Claudia, said, "My father never had any interest in becoming a professional. He was an amateur, and that was it. When I was growing up, my father did not play tennis. He played golf. Tennis was something from the early part of his life. My claim to fame was that I was the daughter of the owner of Bob. He introduced fast food to Brazil and changed the way a culture operated." Clearly, these were different times. The current Wimbledon champion is embroiled in a diplomatic row with the Australian government, with his father likening him to Jesus Christ and Spartacus. Falkenberg evidently did not take tennis quite so seriously, but did recall problems on a visit to Brazil for a tournament. "When I first got here, I looked around and said, man, they really could use a good quick lunch place in this town. In those days the concept didn't even exist." His way around the bureaucracy was to give a racket to an official secretary in order to get a food license fast-track. His first fast food and ice cream shop opened on Copacabana Beach in 1952. He quickly opened up more over the next 20 years before selling up and moving back to the US, where he lived and died on Thursday at the age of 95. In California. His sporting achievements were nevertheless manifold, and he also won the U.S. National Championship doubles title with Don McNeil in 1943. When he was only 17. He was deemed to have the fastest serve in tennis, but was up against it as he faced match point at Wimbledon in 1948. With nothing to lose, he gambled on his big backhand. One of them appeared to be sailing out. Bromwich left it and was ready to celebrate only for the ball to drop in. Falkenberg duly ended up winning 7-5-0 to 6-6 to 2-3 to 6-7 to 5. "I was lucky to win," Falkenberg said. It was the last Grand Slam singles final for Bromwich, a 2-time Australian Open champion, but he got a modicum of revenge the next year when he came back from 2 sets down to beat Falkenberg in the quarterfinal. The American, who was inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame in 1974, married a Brazilian, lured Meirink Veiga Machado, and became a talented golfer, playing for Brazil in the Eisenhower Trophy, an amateur team event, and once making a hole-in-one in qualifying for the Open at Carnoustie. He always maintained golf was harder than tennis. "In tennis you can be off form and still beat an opponent," he said. "In golf, if you lose your edge, you get your brains kicked out." His mother, Mickey, was the Brazilian tennis champion in 1927, and his sister, Jinx, also played tennis in the U.S. National Championship. Jinx, too, had an eclectic life. Growing up in Hollywood after the family returned home from a spell in Chile, Jinx was spotted by a Warner Brothers talent scout. After recovering from injuries suffered when crashing onto a dining table during that ill-fated advertising shoot at the Royal Hawaiian, her Broadway bow in Jolson's led to roles in a string of movies and a chat show with husband, Texas. She died in 2003.